Here I am, bigSHow theGod. Haven't been on here for a while, so I thought I'd do an update for myself, or of myself, for myself. just to digitally record some of where I'm at. So yeah, put some prompters up just as a general update. What I'll do is I'll go to my last pillar review. So I did this, what's the date today? I did a review on a couple of weeks ago. So I'm halfway through another rotation. So I do it every month, and I write down quite a detailed, a summary of each of my pillars. And as always, my life is so awesome. It's, to me, it's at a level of constant progress, constant understanding, constant learning and reviewing and laughing and enjoying and then doing it again and planning and preparing and analyzing and self-review and then reviewing others, having opinions on other people. All things that I kind of embrace. And these are things that I just enjoy doing. I think if there's a metaphor for me at the moment, it's kind of like I just embrace who I am. And kind of make no excuses for it. It's just, that's it. And then if I start changing it, then I've changed it. But yeah, I have no plans to change that process, because in my opinion, for me, it just works. I've never been so truly kind of just truly as optimistic and opportunist viewing as I am now. And I was this, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I've just developed it into this kind of format of how I live. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so it's kind of a mindset. If you listen to any of the stuff I do, it's really a mindset of, I have a mindset of progress, a mindset of opportunity. They are the two key. So in there's room for whatever you want, but it's still constrained to that. And what I use it as a positive perspective, regardless of the situation, regardless of the event. And yet what I might be doing is very uncomfortable and causes me anxiety and will be irritating me and keeping me in that level of uncomfortability and pushing me to do something I don't want to always do. Yet it's probably going to benefit me, right? And so knowing that learning is hard, knowing that self-development is difficult. It's so difficult to stop doing something that is probably not a good idea. It's so difficult to start doing something that's a good idea. Or, and by good idea I mean it's scientifically proven as a body of evidence. I'll use a smoking analogy. If I was smoking, the amount of work it would take me mentally to stop smoking, I use as the example. So, okay, let's say there's a lot of evidence for not smoking, regardless of me liking it, having these pros and cons. If I take myself out of it and look at it honestly, the cons outweigh the pros hugely from the scientific body of evidence. Yet for an individual, it may not look like it does, right? So that's an example of what it would take to overcome that and to not do that. And I try to look for those examples for myself constantly. You know, if I wasn't exercising, what would it take me to exercise? If the food habits I have and is showing me to be sick all the time, or was causing me to be overweight, there's enough evidence to say that being overweight is scientifically not a good idea. It's not a position you kind of want to put yourself in. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but if we look at it from a body of evidence, regardless of what I'm at with it, that's what I sort of strive to do. And so because I know it's so difficult and uncomfortable for me to stop doing something I like to do, but the body of evidence suggests it's not a good idea, right? Nobody's going to convince me right now that drinking alcohol from the body of evidence that's around is in line with any of the goals I have, any visions I have, any future progress I would like to have, with that fits in. It's the same with cigarette smoking or marijuana or taking drugs. It doesn't fit in from the body of evidence, whether I like it or not. You see, it's not even really a discussion. It's kind of just the evidence is overwhelming, you know. So that's me. That's where I come into those types of things. So with the pillars that I constantly review, I'm constantly using it to look for blind spots. Blind spots because there's feedback I'm getting all the time. It's a matter of me taking on that feedback, and from myself, from others, from what I read, from what I learn, and adapting that into my life. That's what I kind of try to do. It's a bit like the veganism debate, you know. What's the evidence that humans require meat? Right? I like meat. That's as simple as it is, right? I like it. Is it nutritionally required for a human to live, and not just live, but live in a high energy, effective kind of way? What I mean by that is, I don't want to just live. If I'm living and it's equal or if not better than I'm living now, then you would think you would look into it, right? versus I like steak, I like chicken, I like, you know what I mean? Besides the nutritional value. So if we just go nutritional value only, there's enough evidence to suggest it's not required, yet I still have it. Right? So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to challenge myself in those areas. And as you can tell, I'm not successful in all of them, because, you know, it's kind of like the same thing as telling a smoker to stop smoking. It's telling me to stop eating chicken, because what I'm going to have instead of chicken, you know, you can have some more vegetables. I like vegetables. I like salads. I really do. But I like meat as well. You see, that's the issue. And then I have society issues with, well, not society, other issues is that my wife enjoys meat as well. Which is back to the same environmental issue, right? I probably will probably not eat meat if more people around me don't eat meat, and we adapt, and the food we eat is now this, right? So that's where influence does come into it, which is interesting in itself, right? It's back to that subject of being influenced by friends. And what would a leader do? See, a leader would lead that anyway. Rather than having friends influence it, you could lead it and be the one that everyone supports and follows. So yeah. So with my pillars, they've just progressed again this month. So I have the fitness, the career, the relationships, nutrition, the learning, and the finances. In last month's summary was a constant sort of just leveling up. There's a big thing that I've been trying to do at the moment is what I call level up. You know, how do you take yourself to the next level? Something that I try to say, well, how do I frame that? And go, what makes me a level up from what I am now? In 6 months, will I say I'm at this level versus this level? What evidence do I have to support that? You know, a sports person will say, well, they won a tournament, or they came higher, they're playing better, and now their results are more. You could argue that, and then that's, now you're playing at that level, but then you might drop down and lose a few results. Does that mean you're not playing at that level? Or, you know, there's kind of variables in this. So how do I constantly challenge myself to say, well, I'm leveling up, and I'm at this level now versus that level. And the only way I can honestly think that you can level up is you continue to practice, you continue to learn, implement, practice it again, review it, practice it, review, train, practice, review, be honest, you know, review it again, ask yourself some tough questions, have other people give you feedback, honest feedback, go again, you know, adjust. So that's what I mean by level up. And that's how I'm kind of framing level up with, if I put in there, with a progress mindset. What I said before, a progressive mindset and a opportunity. progress, we'll say progressive, we'll call it progressive, and opportunistic mindset. And the steps is practice, learn, review / reflect, practice, learn, review, reflect, and then I'm going to put in this too. It's going to be curious, honest. And so what I mean by honest is difficult questions. Get more out of that too. Curious. Be vulnerable. Vulnerable. Share. And then learn. Requires listen. And some of this body would then so be well, the key things might be to identify blind spots. Remember, put on there, and then focus on steps. So that's your steps, so add some focus. And then going another level now might be to establish visions. You can call them goals, and then values. Reflect on values. So those are all parts of the those are parts of how you, or how I would establish and would embody leveling up. So there's just plenty of tasks which equal an embodiment of change. So change becomes a habit. Discipline. let's just leave that for now. I think that's a good sort of start. Don't want to sort of drag it on too long. That's 20 minutes.